You mentioned that electronics are so far away that you're going to include in your program.
When we said far, what we're trying to do in the program is actually to have a direct impact on Egyptian society very fast. There is not that many companies in Egypt, but there's actually none that produce electronic devices in Egypt. Okay, but what we're doing is using the printed electronics section to build simple electronics like LED displays, RFID tags, and so on. But in terms of electronics or processors, this is very far out, and actually my university have a different center called Center for Nano Integrated Electronics that is looking at electronics design. We are more focused on the material and the application of the product.
Are all candidates to be going to quality?
No, not necessarily. Some candidates are accepted with no scholarship.
First of all, this Mohammed was such an architect course. Let us that which field should we follow to be perfect or specialized in this field, nanotechnology?
As I said, I studied chemistry. I have other colleagues who studied engineering. What you study as an undergraduate, if it is practical science, engineering, chemistry, physics, biology, geology, agriculture, you can have a career in nanotechnology. It starts in the postgraduate, it starts in the master's degree. Okay? Because you need to understand the fundamentals very good, very well, before you can start applying it across disciplinary application. So, whatever track you are in, just continue in your track. And when you move to the master's degree, this is where you should start really looking at direct application.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
In the video shown here, I just don't know how could nanotechnology delete the effect of viscosity of honey. What happens?
Okay, the treatment is not the viscosity of honey. The treatment is on the surface. There is something called the lotus effect. This is actually, عارف زهرة اللوتس اللي في مصر؟ لو انت مسكت زهرة اللوتس دي وحطيتها في الطينة وطلعتها هيطلع لك نضيف. مهما عملت فيه. الإفكت ده جاي من السيرفس بتاعت زهرة اللوتس خشن جدا على النانوسكيل. مفيش فيه أي كيمياء، مفيش أي حاجة. الموضوع من السيرفس خشن جدا على النانوسكيل. فدي ما بتخليش نقطة المية أو المساحات. سيم تكنولوجي بتاخد بقى تطبقت على الإزاز، تطبقت على المخدر، تطبقت. ما بتحسش بالفرق ما بين المكان اللي بيتعالج والمكان اللي بيتعالج لأن السايز تشينج صغير. فمش بتحس
How are nanomaterials made?
You got 3 or 4 different ways, okay, depending on what you do. If you're talking about nanoparticles, you can do it physically by just riddling. You got a dab, some of the small parts coming out are going to be in the nanoscale. You can do it chemically. There's something called the soul gel technique, where you use molecules that have some gold atoms in it and you do a chemical reaction to get the gold atom. You can do it physically by heating the material and getting the atoms to evaporate, and as they're evaporating, you collect them. So these are the 3 main ways to do nanomaterials.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You said only 17 after 50 were accepted. They got accepted into the undergraduate or
Postgraduate, it's a master's degree.
okay? What was the main reason you accepted these and rejected others?
When we ask the question, we want somebody who is able to think. We don't care what you got taught when you were undergraduate. We care about your ability to think. So if I ask you a question, let's say a question about, you're all engineers, right? My questions are going to be all chemistry, but okay. Let me think of an engineering question. If I ask you how to make a building, what type of engineering are you? Okay, so let's say you're a civil engineer, right? And I'm going to ask, I'm a layman, I have nothing to know about engineering. I'm going to ask you, what would you do to make this building last longer? What would be your question? What would be your answer? Any civil engineer here? Architect? No one? Okay, normally an engineer would start telling you, I have to calculate the equations to make sure that the cement and the steel is strong enough and it meets the criteria and the codes. This is not the answer I'm looking for. The answer is, I have to make it simply, I have to make sure that all my components meet the specification required to make your building strong. Now, it's exactly the same answer, by the way. The difference is, here you told me that you understand what needs to be done. In the first one, you went into too deep of a detail. If you work in nanotechnology, you will not be able to see the bigger picture. And that's the problem. You're stuck on the details. So this is one criteria. The ability to think outside of the box. The second thing is the level of English, because everything is taught in English in our university. So if you don't pass the English test, there's nothing you can do. And the third thing is your commitment to the program. If you're committed or not, do you really want to do that? So I got a student who came and told me her passion is solar energy. That's her passion. I asked her, so what is in solar energy that you want to do? She said, oh, but I didn't have enough time to read about it. Well, how is it your passion? You want to work in solar energy, and you didn't read about it. Okay, so this shows that she's not committed. She heard somewhere that solar energy is important for us. She heard somewhere that if you say, my passion is solar energy, you're going to accept it. But she didn't do her homework. That's it.
So these three main criteria would be evaluated from an interview or
Yes.
from...
We only have an interview. The only thing is the English, you got English test.
Okay, so you don't look at the final mark like the code to look at.
We look at the transcripts. We do look at the transcripts, but
That's not the meaning.
we look at the transcripts because we want to see, is your performance increasing every year? Is your performance going down? Which areas in your career, in your curriculum that were strongest in you? But depending on your grade, we don't care. It's not your grade that's going to make your research or not.
So the main criteria is interview.
Yes.
What about limitations facing humanity in general?
Limitation, you mean the risks of nanotechnology? Yes.
Only money or risks?
Sorry, say again?
Only money or risks?
No, there are risks of nanotechnology. The biggest risk is that we don't know enough. Okay? So some of these materials that are already in the market are allowed in certain applications. Okay? A lot of the things I've shown to you, these are already permitted applications. A lot of the mythical applications are not permitted yet, not allowed yet, because we don't fully understand. If you have a nanoparticle, what will it do nearby? We don't know. Okay, it's extremely reactive, it's extremely effective, but what happens if it goes in somewhere wrong in your life? What will happen? So the applications are classified into applications where you don't have direct contact. This is especially when you have new materials or new applications of material. The application in the carpet and in the surface treatment, these are safe because these are not new materials. You're not getting new chemical properties out of it. You're getting a physical property, which is not a big problem. But if anything has a new chemical property, it's not allowed yet in terms of direct human contact. So there are problems, not problems, there are safety risks in nanotechnology. The biggest problem is that we don't understand everything. Okay? Yeah. Okay, any more questions? If not, thank you very much. I hope to see some of you. I'm going to leave with the chairman some brochures for the nanotechnology program at my university. If you're interested, you can pick up.